So, bear with me because it is a thing that happens. Okay, so I'm going to talk about it's Matthew 4:1-13, which is Jesus going into the wilderness. So Jesus gets baptized by John the Baptist, and the dove comes down, and the voice of God appears, and it's like, "You are my son." Wah! And then the Spirit leads Jesus into the wilderness, which I think is kind of interesting. It's like this huge, spiritual revelation, and then wilderness. So while Jesus is in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights, which kind of harkens back to that whole Exodus thing that happened back in the day. And then Jesus is tempted by Satan. And there are 3 temptations that I'm not really going to mention. But this story has always been preached to me as, so Jesus goes into the wilderness and is tempted, and so Jesus totally gets everything in your life. Yeah, God knows what it's like to struggle and to have bad time, and it just always, I wanted to punch the preacher, so I was like, no. I just didn't like it. It never clicked. And I don't know, right now, it's in part because of those churches that I am in the wilderness I am in right now. I grew up in a faith that taught Christianity as very black and white, rigid rules. This is wrong and this is right. And if you are wrong, you are very wrong. It's like a children's book, This is bad, this is good. There is no in between. And the more I grow and the more I learn about the way society works, sociology major, and I'm forever corrupted by that. Thank God. But the more I study faith, the more I study society, the more I realize that there is absolutely nothing, pretty much, that is black and white. We live in a wilderness. We live in a place where it is just gray all around, and there really are no easy answers. And that's been a real challenge for me, and it's something that since I graduated in December, I've kind of been like, okay, I'm going to grapple with this vague stuff that I've been putting off for 6 years, whatever. And so it's this January I started a journey, and I kind of said I'm going to let myself get mad finally. I'm going to let myself get angry. It was 6 years ago this spring that I got a letter in the mail from a church that I had been attending for the past 2 or 3 years in Columbia, excommunicating me. I was told by a church that I am not good enough for God, that I am the rotten apple that will spoil the bunch. I am the yeast that will leaven the dough. I have seen very, very up close and personal how the Bible can be used for damage. How this faith that I see as being beautiful and powerful and redemptive and awesome can be turned into a weapon. And as I go through this journey, my challenge is to embrace these gray areas and to embrace this wilderness. And I don't know, I always think of wilderness as a desert, but when I was talking to Hillary this afternoon about what I was going to talk about, she was like, but there's moss and trees and creeks in the wilderness too. And that was just something that hadn't even, to me, the wilderness is just dry and arid and rocky, and maybe there's a nice vista out there, but you're really freaking thirsty because there's no water. And Hillary was like, but it can be pretty too. It can be good. And I don't know, that was really cool to just be like, oh yeah, maybe the wilderness isn't all bad. It's wild, sure. Which always makes me think of Narnia. I don't know, because he's not a tame lion. But the faith that I grew up with, the conservative Southern Baptist fundamentalist list of rules to follow, that was an easy faith. That was a faith where if you lived by the book and if you walked the talked the talk, and for the most part walked the walk. You were cool, you were good. But if you strayed from that at all, if you dared to question, if you dared to say, well, maybe I like girls, and maybe I need to do something with that, even addressing the question, that caused me to be excommunicated. To be kicked out of a church and told that I'm not good enough for God. And I grew up, accepting what the man in the pulpit said, because, it was always a man, obviously. And embracing this wilderness is really difficult. But I just want to challenge you guys. I mean, we're all in the wilderness. I think life is basically just one giant wilderness where we're just like, I don't know. I'm going to figure this out and do the best I can. But I challenge you and myself, because I'm right here. Embrace the wilderness. Ask those really hard questions that are back there. Doubt. Please doubt. I went most of my life without doubting anything that was said, with just, well, that's just the way it is. And it is good to doubt. We need to doubt. We need to ask those questions. We need to say, this verse really kind of pisses me off, and I don't know what to do with it.
Amen.
Yes. And that's kind of like...
Amen.
And please, get angry. Get angry. This is, right here, I'm just saying it to myself completely and totally, because I waited 6 years to get angry. I waited 6 years to, cry at night in the bathtub and want to throw a book across the room. But it is good. And it is okay to be angry at the church. It is okay to be angry at God. It is okay to step into a building for the first time and want to throw up because you are certain they will hate you, just like that past building did. Just like those other people did. You will be told you are inferior, but challenge that. We have these preconceptions about church, about God, that come from where we've been, and challenge them. This is where I am. I don't have any of the answers. I don't even think I know half the questions. When I started this quest, I decided to call me a quest, because then I could print some little bag in the proto. I'm like, oh, I'm not sure there's a dragon out there that I can display. I don't know. That's just really cool to me. But this quest, the first thing I did was I've taken 1 too many social research classes or something. But I was like, okay, how do you operationalize Christian? I have to analyze this. I have to, how do you know if you're a Christian until you know what a Christian is? And so I'm a big fan of the band Five Iron Frenzy, which if any of you have heard of them, kudos. So I asked my friends in kind of this web forum, and I was like, what does it mean to be a Christian? And these are people who run the gamut from I hate the church, I hate God, I am an atheist, I just really like this band, to the super fundamentalist people who are kind of in a mindset that I used to live in. And I got answers that ranged from, you're a Christian if you say you're a Christian, to you're a Christian if you believe these beliefs that we say are right. And I could choose to say I'm not a Christian. That would be easy, and it would be accurate in most settings. There are a lot of people who would look me in the eye and tell me that I'm not a Christian. It's happened a few times. And I could choose to say I am not a Christian. I choose to continue to claim Christianity, because I cannot deny the good that accompanies the bad. I cannot deny, and I truly believe there's space to make this good again. And that the only place that I can heal from Christianity is in Christianity, and that makes me really angry. I wish I could, and I have tried for years to give up on the church, and to just say, whatever, I'm done, I'm out of here, peace, good luck, have a nice life. And, well, hey, what's up? But I was talking to a friend I met who was in seminary, and I was just like, so I'm preaching. And I said to her, I don't know, this seemed to be kind of a good thing to close my random ramblings with. But I'm angry. I have been angry since 2009 when I got that letter in the mail saying that I cannot take communion with the people who I had been with for the past 3 years, that they had given up on me, handed me over to Satan. How about that?
Ooh.
I have been handed over to Satan.
I didn't know we had that power. Wow.
I'm angry. I'm angry at the church. I still, one of the reasons you guys don't see me around here too often is because driving from Columbia to Jeff City every week is tough. But it's also because it's still really hard to set foot in a church. Even having been involved at Rockbridge Christian Church, a Table of Grace for the past, 3-4 years? And I still am just like, I don't know about this. But it's okay. I'm angry at what those people have done and are doing to this beautiful faith. I'm angry that the God of love is being used for hate and that the God of peace is being turned into a weapon. Because I've had love used in hate so many times in my life. And I've been told that I was removed from membership and that my sins they called me out on them in love. I had my nieces and nephews kept from me for 8 months because my sister and brother-in-law loved me so much. Yeah. If that's love, no love, I'm good. You don't have to love me if that's love. Please don't. I'd rather you hate me. Because that is actually what you're doing, instead of putting like the pretty word on it. Hey, love, rainbows, happy. No, that's bad. But ask those questions. Doubt. Get mad. Be a 2-year-old throwing his fit. Whatever it takes, but ask those questions. Challenge your faith. Whether you have faith or not, challenge it. If, you're here today and you're like, this God stuff, whatever. Okay, that's cool. But you're here, so, obviously you're kind of asking some questions. Just seek. That's all I can say from this point in my life, from this stand, is question. Don't accept what you've always believed.
Amen.
And